tapes. So do you.
Brought to you by the American Council on Education, Lumina Foundation, and the Ad Council.
The Rich Eisen Show.
Kellen Moore here on The Rich Eisen Show. Are you aware that after you left the league as a player, there was no left-handed quarterback in the league until Tua?
There was a ton when I got in the league. And then I think all these guys got smart and went to baseball and went back into pitching and hitting and all that good stuff.
But the lefties in baseball are crafty. That's what we refer to lefties in baseball as crafty, not unicorns like they apparently are in the NFL.
The Rich Eisen Show from noon to 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN Plus, and on Disney Plus. The Rich Eisen Show.
The head coach of the Arizona Cardinals, Mike LaFleur. Were you surprised about that choice for the Rams, knowing the organization as well as you do?
I was surprised at Mr. Grumpy that night because I know how excited he is about that quarterback. He always really liked that quarterback.
Mr. Grumpy. Let me write that one down, Mike.
That's from his words, not mine.
That's true.
The Rich Eisen Show. Weekdays from noon to 3 Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPN Plus, and on Disney Plus.
Your home for Richmond Spiders athletics all year round. W291CL Lakeside Richmond. WURV HD2 Richmond. We are 1061 ESPN.
Start your morning right with Ironclad Coffee Roasters and Baking Company, the official coffee of Fitz and ESPN Richmond. They have fresh artisan pastries made from scratch daily in their own in-house bakeries to go along with some of the best coffee in RVA. 3 locations, one in Shockoe Bottom, one in the West End, and one in Lynchburg. Check them out too online at ironcladcoffee.com. Fitz the Bill is powered by Ironclad Coffee Roasters and Baking Company each and every morning.
Richmond, it's time to get your morning going. Spicy Mom.
We are going to wreak havoc.
The only thing I am thinking about is the game.
Holy catfish! Touchdown, Seahawks!
Rashid Shaheed. Richmond Sports Talk by Richmond sports fans. This is Fitz the Bill with Jack Fitzpatrick. All live from the capital of the Commonwealth, where sharp analysis, your cause, and Richmond always come first. If it's making headlines locally or nationally, we're breaking it down. Now, live from the capital of the Commonwealth, Fitz the Bill with your host, Jack Fitzpatrick.
8 minutes to go, first quarter. 15-9 Spurs. San Antonio with it. Dribbling Castle at the top, looking at Victor, gives it to Wembanyama with 7 to shoot. Drives hard, windmills it home. And a timeout called by Chris Finch as Wemby has come to play in Game 5. He's got 9 of the Spurs' 17. From the free throw line, rebounded by Wembanyama. He's already got 5 boards and 13 points here in the first 6 minutes. Wemby into the lane, double, pass outside to Castle. Castle drives the lane, flips outside. Wemby 3, yep! Victor Wembanyama, 16 points, and we haven't even played 6 minutes of Game 5. Box drive, lifts this time. Wemby just has to leap just a hair, grabs and flushes.
Well, when you allow Wemby to get behind you, there's nothing you can do to defend a lob pass.
Looks like he's playing on a Nerf basketball net there. Shot clock is off, and the sellout at Frostbank Center will come to their feet. The San Antonio Spurs with Victor Wembanyama back after the flagrant 2. Wemby delivers 27 points, 17 rebounds, and the Spurs are a win away from the conference finals, up 3 games to 2 after a 126-97 win over the T-Wolves.
I thought that we played with appropriate fear, discipline, execution, physicality, poise. And I thought we had it from an array of people tonight, and it was really good to see, and we needed everybody.
Man, oh man. Wemby scored 18 points in that first quarter. Scored 9 points the rest of the way, but it didn't really matter because San Antonio did what they needed to do early on in the game, had a 12-point lead heading into half. Things got a little dicey there in the third quarter, tied at 61. Then you blinked and San Antonio was up big, and they just coasted that right onto a 29-point victory last night to take a 3-2 series lead. You heard it there. Wemby was everywhere in the first quarter, finished with 27 points, 9 of 16 from the floor, hit 2 trays, 17 rebounds, 3 blocks, 5 assists. Was a little off of my quadruple double prediction, but a fantastic game for Wemby as he made his return following the ejection in Game 4. Then, of course, as we know, no suspension, no fine. no problem for Wemby, who had a wonderful, wonderful game last night. And I need San Antonio to get a theme song because right now Cleveland's got a theme song. They're rocking and rolling. Orlando had one. They're no longer. Maybe they don't need one because, Orlando had a theme song. They're out of it. Philly has a theme song. They're out of it. Cleveland has the Drew Carey show that we played yesterday. They're in a battle right now with Detroit. So maybe I'll amend that take. Maybe San Antonio doesn't need a theme song because it seems if you got a theme song, you're either not in the playoffs anymore or you're not in control of your series. So San Antonio, maybe stay away from the theme song. Do they have one? Oh, yeah. Twilight Zone. X-Files. What's the Twilight Zone? Yeah. X-Files, yeah. He's an alien. He's an alien.
Wouldn't that work?
That would work. That would work well. It would work well for Wemby. That's what they should air when he's coming onto the court.
Or maybe whatever the theme song was from Independence Day. I really don't remember the
Independence Day.
Yeah,
the movie
with Will Smith. Yeah, he had that. He always.
I
has
don't
a
think
theme
there's
song.
a theme song. In
you
that.
Sure? He always has.
Okay,
a theme song.
but that was post his rapping career when he would write his own theme songs.
Yeah. I'll have to go back and look.
Could you imagine if he just adapted the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air open to Independence Day?
I highly doubt Spielberg and then would let him do E.T.
Yeah, that's a good point. What's the nickname you've got for him? Because Wemby was on one last night. He deserves a nickname after last night's performance.
The most obvious bounce back, right? Like,
okay.
So I was joking about the Tiger style. I'm sticking with the Kung Fu theme.
Okay.
But because he's really good at defense, I was going to call him the Mantis.
The Mantis.
Yeah.
Okay. I like that one.
Yeah. Sticking with the Kung Fu theme.
I can dig it. He deserves a nickname like that and Kung Fu and every. Man, he was locked in last night. It's funny. He had 18 points and then he had 9 points in the next 3 quarters combined. But like he made his presence felt. He threw down the exclamation point early on, was like, I'm here. Good luck.
It's not the hot take day, but Wemby's got the dog in him, man. Like,
I don't even think that's a hot take.
Wemby he's going to be rare air because if you watch how he plays, the attitude he has when he has to bounce back, like you can tell he takes it personally.
Well, look at game 1, horrible game offensively.
Yeah.
What did he do? Game 2, bounced back.
Yeah.
Game 4, gets ejected. What does he do? Game 5, bounce back.
That's why I'm so excited to see this game 6 because Ant also has that in him. Because he's not going to have 2 bad games.
Exactly. It's been a fantastic battle of the faces of the league or the future faces of the league, right? Where one guy has a great game, then the other guy answers back with a great game, and they've just been rotating these types of performances. And for Anthony Edwards, he needs that because now his team's on the brink of elimination. But the good news is they head back to Minnesota. But it was kind of a lackluster game last night for him, really for the entire team.
Well,
Rudy Gobert only had 4 points. Rudy Gobert was kind of a non-factor for most of the game. But I think it's because Wemby, I don't know if you saw this video, Alan, Wemby and Greg Popovich decided to meet together.
I was going to say, there's still more confirmation that Pop is definitely in play.
And Pop was in attendance last night. They showed him on the
Pop met
broadcast.
him when he got off the plane.
Yeah, I know.
So you know it was serious.
I didn't know Pop could drive anymore.
Man, look, if there's one thing he cares about, it's clearly the Spurs. And it's great to see that that he still has that influence. Yeah. Like for somebody from his generation to still be respected and able to resonate with a young player like Wemby speaks volumes to what he is for basketball. And I mean, it's without a doubt a lot of his influence, more so probably stabilizing him, letting him know like this isn't the appropriate way to go about doing things. And there was a couple times last night where he hit the floor. You could tell he was getting a little irritated. Yeah, he's getting a little annoyed. But what are they supposed to do, right? This is how they're going to play you. You just got to make adjustments.
And the NBA has made it clear. I'm not sure if they made it like officially clear by sending out a memo or anything, but they've made it clear throughout these playoffs in the past, era of playoffs, last 5-10 years, whatever it may be, they're going to officiate the playoffs a little different.
Yeah.
It's going to be a more physical game. They're going to let things go and they're going to let you play a much more physical brand of basketball. And Minnesota's taking advantage of that in a big, big way against Wemby. It's why Minnesota has so much more success in the postseason than they do the regular season. And they're still a successful regular season team, but every single regular season, we're always left with the question of, man, Minnesota's just not playing as well as we thought they would. Then they enter the playoffs and they knock off Denver in somewhat shocking fashion without Dante DiVincenzo, without Anthony Edwards. They're now in an absolute dogfight with the San Antonio Spurs. I think collectively, as a NBA watching media, as an NBA watching fandom, right, we all probably expected the Spurs to win this in 5, maybe 6. And I know they can still win it in 6 technically, but it's been a lot more difficult than we all had initially anticipated heading into this. And it's because Minnesota, like Jasmine Wimbish said yesterday on the show, if you missed that interview, you can head back over to espnrichmond.com/podcast and you can find the full episode from yesterday, where she talked about how Minnesota is just a team that's going to outwork you. I think you called them blue collar yesterday.
Blue collar, for sure.
They are going to play physical. They are going to get in your grill. They tried to do that yesterday against Wemby again. Do you see Ayo Dosunmu and Anthony Edwards?
Yeah.
I don't think they were being rude. I don't think they were trying to get under the, be physical on the walk back. I think they were just trying to friendly trash talk him on the way
you know
back.
What I saw?
What'd you see?
Backdoor cuts and more motion and movement in the offense of the Spurs.
Exactly. And it got things going. It got Keldon Johnson to drop 21 points.
It got Rudy
bench.
Gobert looking like he was out of sorts and didn't belong on the court.
That's the other game within the game that's been really interesting with this. Rudy's had great bounce back games. Rudy's been phenomenal in terms of being a defensive presence and playing aggressive and physical with Wemby. Game 1, he did that, threw Wemby off of his game, forced Wemby to take a ton of threes. Game 2, Wemby had an answer. Game 3, Wemby had an answer. Game 4, Wemby had no answer. Also, he got ejected, and he let Rudy Gobert and company get underneath his skin. And Game 5, he had an answer. What is Rudy Gobert's answer going to be? Because the two Frenchmen, they've played together for years. Rudy knows all of Wemby's tricks, but Wemby knows all of Rudy's tricks.
And Wemby has pop.
And Wemby is 7'6" and is an alien, and we've now nicknamed him Mantis.
Yes.
So
I'm going Mantis.
Good. Timberwolves, I would expect to win Game 6, but they need a little bit more out of their guys. Julius Randle has been absolutely...
It's been a bad series for him.
It's been a bad playoffs for him, man. But this series in particular, he's averaging less than 17 points per game. He's averaging 14.8 points per game in this series on 36% shooting. Let's just put that into perspective really quick. Last playoffs, when I was a big Julius Randle stan, when I was defending his Sketcher wearing play, he was averaging 22 points per game on 50% shooting. This year, it's a huge drop off, 15 points per game on 36% shooting.
Is when they run him off his line and he bullies by the smaller defender.
Guess who's waiting?
There's a wall there, right?
Well, and that's the cheat code that San Antonio has that not a lot of teams have across the league, right? Julius Randle's getting the matchups he wants. He's getting De'Aaron Fox on him. He's getting Dylan Harper. He's getting these smaller guys on him in comparison to Julius Randle. And typically, he's able to exploit those mismatches. But like you said, sure, he may exploit those mismatches, but then all of a sudden you turn the corner and there's a 7'6" alien waiting for you, and the numbers bear it out, right? San Antonio last night, they had 50 attempts in the paint. Guess how many Minnesota had?
Man, I would imagine, because I was going to ask you this. I know there was a disparity when Wemby was off the floor because they were definitely aggressive.
Yeah, they were attacking it. Overall, I don't know what the full breakdown on-off splits were because I don't have access to the crazy advanced stats.
Yeah,
I'm not that much.
I need
of a
to
nerd.
check with the NBA, see if they can give us that.
Yeah, but Minnesota only had 38 attempts in the paint compared to San Antonio's 50. San Antonio in the paint went 34 of 50. Minnesota went 18 of 38. Typically, when you're attempting shots in the paint, you want that number to be above 50%, like it was for San Antonio. And it's tough. It's tough for them.
You get blocked enough times, you get PTSD, man. You get the icks and the yips and things like that. Just Wemby turning on defense is making people adjust their shots. It was a couple times he wasn't even. I would say he wasn't capable of actually blocking the shot. But the fact that he turned around and paid attention to you driving and he was coming to help made people make adjustments on their shots. There's a whole lot of really wonky floaters and runners and stuff like that. So it definitely plays a part. And in Randall's case, I think, he's not as confident in his jump shot. So he needs to see the ball go in, and he needs to be able to do that inside out to get working. And because he has, in this series especially, he hasn't been able to build that rhythm. He's struggling a little.
He's struggling a lot. a lot. He wasn't even that good in the Denver series, man. He needed to be the second guy for Anthony Edwards. If Minnesota wanted to have any shot of winning this thing, doesn't look like that's going to happen. I mean, maybe now it's Ayo Dosunmu. Maybe it's Jaden McDaniels. Terrence Shannon hasn't been much of a factor these last couple of games.
I've liked McDaniels and Dosunmu.
Yeah, I think they're two really good players.
But there's also something to be said last night about the Timberwolves offense in general. It was really bad.
39% from the floor. Outside of that one stretch where they clawed back, they trailed by 12, tied it at 61. Looked like maybe they had put the pieces together. What does San Antonio do? Shut them back down.
There was a couple sequences where when they came back, they were taking these early 3-point shots. Like, it didn't make any sense. I don't want to say it was Reggie Miller. One of the commentators, I forgot who was on the call last night, but one of the commentators was just beside themselves about it. There was like a sequence, I think in the third quarter, he's like, what are you doing, Minnesota? Like, he literally shouted that into the mic. Like, it made no strategical sense to take these early shot clock shots when they had been struggling a little bit from three, at least. It would have made more sense for them to move the ball around more. And it just wasn't there last night.
No.
We could chalk it up to it just not being their night. There were spurts, but at the end of the day, it just was not their night.
Well, I mean, you look, they made 32 field goals last night. They assisted on 17 of those. You compare it over to San Antonio, who had 25 assists on 47 made field goals. They shot 53% from the floor. Those are numbered. They're assisting on above 50% of their shots. They're hitting on more than 50% of their shots. They're looking good. There is the ball movement. There's the backdoor cuts. Mitch Johnson working with Greg Popovich working with Victor Wembanyama, and the Spurs are looking good. But they go back to Minnesota, a place San Antonio's just 1-1 in these playoffs. They didn't look all that dominant. Granted, game 4, I get it. Wemby was ejected, so that's a big asterisk next to it. And does San Antonio win that game if he's
pretty sure
there?
He's going to have like all kind of vendors on his mind coming back to Minnesota.
I'm going to double down on my quadruple double take, but I'll save that one for tomorrow.
I mean, even Ant said after the game, he's like, "Look, the dude just does things that you really can't game plan for."
Yeah, he's very good at the game of basketball. Breaking news: Wemby is good at basketball,
and I don't want to take away from Mitch either. His ability to understand when to calm his team down, when to motivate him, and things like that, I think really helped. In fact, the disadvantages that the Spurs have because of their lack of experience, I would say because of how he manages the timeouts and the team.
He's a very good coach.
He's been really good. Like last night the game got away from him, and it was one of those situations where I think the timeout was perfect, even though I probably would have panicked and called it a little earlier. And they respond every single time they come out those timeouts. They respond, which I think is a testament to good coaching. So he's doing a great job. But again, it got to be a boost to have Pop in your corner.
It's also got to be a boost to have a 7'6" alien in your corner too. That part of it,
and a guy that comes off your bench and gives you double doubles or 30 points. Who knows what Dylan Harper will do?
Yeah, Dylan Harper, he got a double for you last night.
Keldon Johnson too, man. That block on
Keldon Johnson gets you 21 points off the bench. Here's the thing too. Julian Champagnie, their 3-point specialist. He's not been necessarily electric from long range. He had just 8 points last night, back-to-back games with under double-digit scoring. Doesn't matter, though, because of what they've got coming off the bench. Dylan Harper and Keldon Johnson combined to have 33 points last night on above 50% shooting. Good stuff for them.
Yeah,
it's so difficult if you're the Timberwolves.
So the funny thing about it, too, is we're probably eventually going to end up talking about the Thunder at some point in the next 48 hours. It's
actually coming up next segment.
We give the Thunder so much credit, but if you look at the Spurs, the only difference between them and the Thunder is they just don't have 30 years of top draft picks. But this team is built very similar as far as the talent disparity, right? Like their starting 5 is good, but they've got 2 to 3 guys they can pull off the bench on any given night that are going to be highly productive players. And I think Jasmine talked about it yesterday. How do you beat the Thunder? How do you play the Thunder? How do you get them out their rhythm? It's the amount of bodies and different combinations of defenders you can throw at SGA and these guys and make them uncomfortable. And she cited the Pacers being a team that could do that. The Spurs are also a team that can play that way, and they've got the great eraser and Victor Wembanyama, who can stand in the paint and really help out in case, you do get these mismatches.
Yeah, the ultimate eraser.
Yeah. So I think, again, the best thing that can happen for the NBA is we get Spurs versus Thunder.
Oh, 1,000,000%. And it looked like we're tracking that way too, because I know Minnesota. I know that this series, it's been competitive. It's been a very, very good series. We've gotten great games out of Anthony Edwards. We've gotten some great games out of Wemby. But if Wemby doesn't get ejected in game 4, this series would have been likely over. Like the way the Spurs were playing in that game without Wemby, they nearly took down Minnesota. Minnesota needed an Ayo Dosunmu, who Zach Lowe on the Zach Lowe show on the Ringer podcast network. He compared it to the helmet catch, the David Tyree helmet catch.
That's actually really good.
He said Minnesota had their own version of the helmet catch. And I was like, you know what? That's not wrong. Or the Minneapolis Miracle, the Stephon Diggs catch against the Saints all those years ago.
Dude kicked it to himself.
He kicked it to himself. Then he had the wherewithal to gather himself, not fall out of bounds, and maintain possession.
They got to use that as a FIFA highlight to build up the World Cup.
Truly. That's how you get Americans bought in. You show them basketball clip.
The back heel.
you flick it to yourself, little rainbow kick or something like that. But if Ayo did not do that, it's not a foregone conclusion that they're even winning that game. So the series could have been over. Minnesota got that. They've got to go back there to Minneapolis and pull out the win. But it's looking like the Spurs and Thunder will be the showdown we've all wanted since these playoff matchups were announced. And it will be a really, really great series because San Antonio has got the Oklahoma City Thunder's kryptonite, and it is Victor Wembanyama. All you got to make sure is he doesn't throw any more crazy elbows again. But because that'll be the undoing of San Antonio.
Well, Dwight Howard gave him some really good advice. I know people thought it was a troll, but he does need to go back and watch some of the better elbow throwers to create space. Like Shaq was really good at it.
Yeah,
as big as he was.
The issue with Wemby and that elbow, you saw him pause.
It's the flare up. You need to flare down.
Yeah, you got to almost like wingding it a little bit. And then you saw Wemby also
more wing.
You saw Wemby look over his shoulder, see Naz Reid was there and go, yeah, I'm gonna do this.
It's like, oops.
Yeah, my bad. For Wemby, he's lucky that it hit him in the throat, not the face.
Yeah.
Because if that caught Reid on the face, it's probably breaking a nose.
Or making him bleed.
It's making him bleed, and he likely would have been suspended because head injuries, things around the head.
I don't think anybody could have saved him from that.
Yeah, he probably would have been fined at least. That's the one thing I have exception with. I think Wemby should have been fined. I'm okay with him not missing the game, but it doesn't matter anymore. They win the game he came back for. All right, we're going to get a quick break in. Coming up in hour number 2, we've got Kyle Williams joining us at 9 a.m. He's the Nats beat writer for the Baltimore Banner. We'll get a little vibe check on the Nationals as we're early on into this rebuilding season, another rebuilding season. So we'll catch up with Kyle to get a vibe check on what's happening up there in the district. And at 9:30, we've got Sia Najad. He's the host and analyst for CBS Sports HQ and Sportsline, amongst some other things. Really good golf bettor. He'll be joining us to help preview the PGA Championship at 9:30. So stick around here. Fits the bill. Coming up next, it's been a really solid battle of the faces of the league, right? We've got to break all of that down. Coming up next, right here on Fits the Bill.
106.1 ESPN on-air interviews presented by the Herman Allen Plumbing Heating and Cooling Hotline with Lennox products that make the air in your home absolutely perfect.
This is advertising material.
When a motorcycle accident turns your world upside down, who's going to look out for your family while you're healing? Alexander Shinara Trial Attorneys is here for you, fighting for injured riders, getting families the compensation they deserve. The consultation is free. Call 877-222-6666 or visit alexwins.law. Don't wait, alexwins.law.
This is advertising material. Past results do not guarantee future outcomes. Every case is different. Philip George is licensed attorney in Virginia, is responsible for legal work. Office is located in Norfolk.
Turbocharged, supercharged, or nitrous fed. It's all good. The Redline Oil PDRA Drag Racing Series is back May 21st through 23rd at Virginia Motorsports Park, Denwick. The PDRA Mid-Atlantic Showdown, presented by Classic Graphics. There's nothing like 200 plus mile an hour Brahma. Extreme chaos right before your eyes. Yeah! Tickets at PDRA660.com. See it, hear it, feel it. PDRA.
Hello, folks. Hey, this is Mike Chenault with Hometown Realty. Spring has sprung. That's right. Homes are selling for record prices, and it's a great time to sell your house for top dollar. Our agents are ready to get you the highest possible price with the least amount of inconvenience to you. So when you're ready to sell your house, call your favorite hometown realty agent or call me, Mike Chenault, 366-5302. We want to be your realtor. 366-5302.
My son loves to fly kites, but my active psoriatic arthritis can sometimes hold me back. Now with Skyrizi to treat my skin and joints, I'm ready to go. Skyrizi, Risankizumab Riza, a prescription-only 150 milligram injection for adults, helps with less joint pain, stiffness, swelling, and fatigue. For those who also have plaque psoriasis, 90% clearer skin is possible with just 4 doses a year after 2 starter doses.
Don't use if allergic to Skyrizi. Serious allergic reactions and an increased risk of infections or a lower ability to fight them may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check for infection and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection or symptoms such as fever, sweats, chills, muscle aches, or cough, or if you plan to or recently received a vaccine.
With Skyrizi, there's nothing like clearer skin and better movement, and that means everything. Ask your doctor about Skyrizi today and visit skyrizi.com or call 1-866-SKY-RIZZI to learn more.
1061 ESPN traffic.
An accident is causing some delays heading south on 95 at South Park Boulevard, causing some congestion from Temple Avenue. An accident has the right lane blocked off heading north on 288 at Huguenot Trail, causing congestion from Midlothian Turnpike. There's been a crash on 23rd Street at East Main Street and an accident on Laburnum Avenue near Audubon Drive.
Coming up on the Wednesday Mid-Major Match Show, we'll talk about the latest NFL schedule leaks, and Kevin Sheehan will join us to talk all things DC sports. 4 until 6 here on 1061 ESPN.
Hey, Richmond, looking for more Fitz the Bill content and behind-the-scenes looks into the show? Well, follow us on Instagram at Fitz the Bill ESPN RBA. You'll get all of the clips, exclusive hot takes, and so much more. Follow us at Fitz the Bill ESPN RBA on Instagram.
I love my Spurs. San Antonio Spurs, San Antonio Spurs.
All right, they do have one.
I guess.
This is apparently the official song.
All right. You know, Tim Duncan, he down. But we got LaMarcus Aldridge and we got Paul Gasol.
Oh, it's a throwback.
Not in the paint, we a beast.
All right. All right, that's a song.
Oh man, but
That's
no,
a
like
truth.
seriously, I would hope he'd updated it. But according to the internets, I Love My Spurs,
I Love My
by
Spurs.
Leon Shannon featuring Cadillac Music is the official pregame, postgame, and sometimes celebratory song. There's also another song that's like Go Spurs Go, like a more techno beat.
Okay. I don't know if I love that. So in the power rankings of theme songs, Orlando
It fits
Magic,
San Antonio's creativity.
Hey, don't tell Charles Barkley about San Antonio creativity. You know how he feels about San Antonio.
Chuck was right though.
Hey, you're not wrong. All right, let's go out to the phone lines. We've got Bruce on line 1. Morning, Bruce. How we doing?
Good morning, Fitz. Good morning, Alan. Man, Secaucus is rocking back in those
Bruce,
chairs.
what did I do to you, man? Why you greet me like that all the time, man? The war is over, man. I'm not beating up the 76ers no more, man. You guys are in the off season. We can be friends, Bruce.
Boy. My man. So look, guys, no, Secaucus is rocking back in those chairs, guys. They are looking forward to the top of the week. Because as you guys have stated, there's a chance out west that you could see Thunder versus Spurs. I know you guys that's the hype right there. Already, that's the hype. But don't forget, there's still a possibility and an even stronger likelihood that you could see the Knicks play the Pistons. And guys, this is what the NBA, we all been talking about 1980s, 1990s basketball. This is what some of the old heads are hoping for. Fingers crossed. They're standing on all 10s, hoping that they will see this. And then there is what's going on in Chicago this week. So with the new rooks preparing to be drafted. There is so much hype to what's happening in the association that Secaucus they're just reclining back in the chairs. We told them. And this is where I think the NBA stars are shining bright right now, because this draft is compared to 1996, 2004, 1983. This is, they're giving this type of clout to this draft. So, hey, man, if you're a fan of the association, as I am, this is good time. And don't sleep. I'm going to leave y'all with this. Do not sleep. I know we're saying it's too quick of a turnaround. They get the right coach up in D.C. Don't sleep on them Wizards, bro.
I don't hate that take. Bruce, appreciate you calling in. Have a great rest of your day. I don't hate that. Maybe I'm a little too bullish on them, but they get the right guy in there. And here's the thing with where the Wizards can go with that number 1 overall pick, too. Whether or not Brian Keefe is their guy up there in Washington, they go A.J. DeBonsa. I think they've got a fantastic 4 that they can put right into their lineup. You can't go wrong if you go with Darren Peterson either.
Well, we talked about this on the Mid-Major Match show. If they go DeBonsa, then AD is AD and probably somebody else needs to go.
I don't think so. You could put AD at the 5, and then you could have him be the veteran leader in the locker room. Or you could have DeBonsa be there as the guy coming off the bench, and you keep Sarr as the 4.
Well, that was also my thing. Like, I know we talk about this from an NFL standpoint, right? Typically with quarterbacks, you want them to sit and get experience and things like that. Your stars in the NBA, we typically want them on the floor.
Yeah.
And I definitely wouldn't.
He would still get 20. Dylan Harper's not in the starting lineup, but he's still getting 20-plus minutes a game.
That's true.
A.J. DeBonsa could do the same.
You could work a rotation.
And here's the thing with Anthony Davis. He's not in their long-term plans. He is there to rehab his image regardless. And if he can rehab his image before the trade deadline this season, that's probably best case scenario for Washington. Or if you're Washington and you have a bought-in Anthony Davis who can give you 50 games this season, you have the potential to win a first-round game next season. We've seen how weak the Eastern Conference is. Orlando was a second-half meltdown away in Game 6 from winning that series against the number 1 seeded Detroit Pistons. You're telling me that Wizards can't do that next year?
Yeah, and I don't think they're going to move Sarr either.
No, Sarr's in their long-term plans. Yeah. I think Trae Young's in their long-term plans as well. I don't think Anthony Davis is, because of the backlog they've kind of got in that front court. I think Bilal could potentially be moved because Keyshawn George has done an exceptional job and is more of a piece in that rotation than what Bilal is. But like, you look at the front court, AD plays there at the 5 or the 4, depending on what you want to do there. DeBonsa getting 20 some odd minutes, 25 minutes, maybe 30 minutes off the bench, maybe in the starting lineup. You could have a nice little rotation with those 3. And then if Anthony Davis, he starts the season averaging 20 points and 12 rebounds a game, and he looks pretty healthy, you can flip him for another first-round pick at the deadline.
Play him for 25 games and then trade him before he gets hurt.
I mean, yeah, that's kind of the goal, right? Like, that's a perfect outcome. But then you get Darren Peterson in there. Darren Peterson, I know I was really tough on him throughout the college basketball season. Then it came out he was suffering with the cramps. He would have full body cramps that kind of left him with PTSD, that anytime his body started cramping up, he thought he was having full body cramps. Turns out those full body cramps were due to creatine, something I guess he was allergic to or reacted negatively in his body. And Kansas, I don't think Kansas did him any favors by keeping it all hush-hush and covered up, because the kid had to withstand so much scrutiny for this entire season. But I think he was dealing with a lot of issues. And if Darren Peterson was allowed to come right out of high school last year, he would have, and he would have been the number 1 pick. And I think he still has that type of talent. So you could have a successful pick with DeBonsa or with Darren Peterson there.
So it also brings up the conversation. I would say Peterson and Boozer would fit probably your front court, middle of the road guys. Like, they can be tweeners of some sort. Then you go Peterson and Acuff for your potential guards that you would take if you're the Wizards. Peterson and Acuff seem like 2 guys that need the ball in their hands. But I don't know if they would pair with Trae.
Peterson did a really good job as the season went on and he was suffering through those injuries. They took him off ball and they made him more of the 2 guard. So he has had experience, at least for half of a college basketball season, playing with the ball out of his hands and not being the guy who keys the offense. So I think Peterson's a little bit better with that. I don't think Acuff is in play at all at 1. I think the 3 or 4 guys, probably 4 guys that are in play at 1 would be in this order as well. AJ DeBonsa, Darren Peterson, Caleb Wilson, Cam Boozer.
Yeah, I keep forgetting about Caleb because he got his hand hurt.
Yeah, he got his hit. But apparently his rehab has been phenomenal and he's testing off the charts.
Yeah, and I'm only pushing back just because if you look at Cade Cunningham's development, you could argue that when Cade came out, the Pistons would have been better suited to have somebody there to basically put him in a role where he could come off the bench or guide the team, learn from a vet, etc. But they didn't. They threw him in the fire. And it took a couple years to get him some help.
It took the worst losing streak in NBA history.
Yeah, it wouldn't. I mean, for the Wizards, it can't get any worse than what it's already been.
True. They went 1-24 over their final 25 games.
But I think the Cade Cunningham that we see now was forged through the fire of having to learn basically through blunt force trauma. Like he got hit upside the head so much every night. But he's developed into arguably the next superstar.
Yeah.
And he's leading the team. So I think it's something that the Wizards, it's kind of like the game within the game, like something that they really should consider.
I've got a hot take, and kind of like your hot take. I know it's not Friday, but something that kind of what you said, where in the NFL, sometimes you want your quarterback to sit for a year so he can learn. I think in the NBA, we blow out of proportion starting and sitting. I think what really matters in basketball is your minutes played.
Yes, sir.
People always talk about, he was in the starting lineup. Yeah, he played like we did it with the Celtics. I was guilty of it when they put Ron Harper Jr. in the starting lineup, right? Yeah. Well, he played 4 minutes. The issue wasn't Harper starting the game. It was that the Celtics were -9 in the 4 minutes Ron Harper played. It just so happened those were the first 4 minutes of the game. You know what I mean?
The worst 4 minutes.
And so, like, yikes, you get extra eyeballs on it. But if you're playing 40 minutes a game, but you're coming off the bench, that's totally acceptable in my view. I think we over exaggerate how impactful it is to be a starter in the NBA. What's more important is the minutes you're getting.
That's a fair point. I like that.
But so, all right, let's get a quick break in here. Step aside. We'll be back. A little news or snooze on this midweek edition of Fitz the Bill. Coming up, hour number 2, we've got Kyle Williams joining us. He's the Nats beat writer for the Baltimore Banner, plus Sia Najad, host and analyst for Sportsline and CBS Sports HQ. He'll help us preview the PGA Championship at 9:30. Stay with us. You're listening to Fitz the Bill right here on 106.1 ESPN Richmond.
Tune in to the Henrico Huddle with Dennis Bickmeyer the last Wednesday of each month, afternoons on 106.1 ESPN, or updates online at henricosea.com.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head. The total amount ended up being somewhere just over $30,000. $30,000.
Then the IRS came to collect.
Started getting letter after letter. A lien had been filed against me. They were going to basically hang me completely out to dry.
He had to do something.
That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
Patrick's life quickly got a lot easier.
It was very easy, pretty much hands off. They picked up the ball and ran with it.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. They definitely helped me. Optima Tax Relief, the best place to call. They're the best in the business.
Do what Patrick did and call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460. 800-343-6460.
Optima Tax Relief.
Testimonial from an actual client. Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
106.1 ESPN on-air interviews presented by the Herman Allen Plumbing Heating and Cooling Hotline with Lennox products that make the air in your home absolutely perfect.
Are you suffering from a sports injury, chronic pain, or something that just plain hurts? Ortho Virginia can help get you on the road to recovery. As the state's largest provider of orthopedic care, Ortho Virginia's team of specialists offers surgical and non-surgical treatment options. With 12 offices conveniently located in the Richmond area, visit orthovirginia.com or call 804-915-1910 to discover why at Ortho Virginia, stronger starts here.
I checked Allstate first and saved hundreds on my car insurance. Really smart. Unfortunately, I didn't check if I took the gas hose out of my car's tank. Ooh, not smart. And I drove off while still attached to pump number 3.
Yeah, checking first is smart. So check Allstate first for a quote that could save you hundreds.
Potential savings vary, subject to terms, conditions, and availability. Allstate North American Insurance Company and affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment? That's a lie. Most timeshares can be bought online for $1. To find out what your timeshare is worth and to cancel it, call us today and we'll send you our timeshare exit kit free with all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley for your free exit info guide. 800-296-6868. That's 800-296-6868.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Ty Simpson, to his credit, is smart enough to realize going to the Rams to be a backup is a better opportunity than going to the Cardinals to be a starter. I don't know that everyone would have operated that way. How many people out there would have said, wait a minute, Team X is going to give me a chance to start right away. I'm going to Team X. The more and more I think about this, the more I think this is going to work big for a long time.
Unsportsmanlike. Weekday mornings starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2.
106.1 ESPN weather.
We're expecting partly cloudy skies this morning with more clouds rolling in throughout the day. Highs will be reaching 78 degrees later this afternoon, and we're seeing about a 50% chance of thunderstorms later this afternoon and into the evening.
Hey, Richmond, this is Joe Simpson. There's only one place in the 804 to stay up to date on all things Atlanta Braves, and that's 106.1 ESPN.
News.
Extra, extra, read all about it.
Or snooze.
News or snooze this morning? Threw me off with that Kyle Williams thing. I had PTSD from the Niners days. Daryl Morey, Sixers, part ways.
Newsworthy.
Not even, man. That's a celebration.
I mean, oh my goodness. They had another one?
Yeah,
Oh,
man.
They're up to what, 29 now? That's crazy.
You know,
That's
it's not often that I listen to Unsportsmanlike and I find myself absolutely like just bobbing my head, like agreeing with everything Evan Cohen said.
Yeah.
His Daryl Morey take was phenomenal.
Oh
So
my
much
God.
so I
What
wish
was
we
it?
could have cut it.
Oh.
He basically told everybody the truth. Morey's a terrible GM. He's an even worse person. Think about it. Everything about Daryl Morey overshadows the team. He's the most vocal and controversial general manager, and he's never actually won anything.
Yeah, he's won literally nothing. And in Philly, they didn't even make it to a conference finals ever.
And he does the same crap I hate about the NFL people when they stink. They want to be like, well, I'm in the analytics. No. Don't blame the numbers.
Exactly. He's the reason why analytics has a bad name, right?
Yeah.
Like he is the reason. So he's out as the Sixers president of basketball operations. That was his official title. He had been in Philly for 6 years, made 5 playoffs, but they never got past the second round. Philly still this shocks me for the amount of success Philly has had specifically over the last decade or so, ever since Joel Embiid and they trusted the process. They have not made a conference finals since 2001 with Allen Iverson.
Yeah, that tracks.
That's
tracks.
crazy. Like, just the Knicks made one last year. The Knicks, who have been much worse in this new millennium than the 76ers have been.
And did you see who they're bringing in to help?
Bob Myers.
Has there been anybody who has profited off of their success as a general manager than Bob Myers? Imagine if Sam Presti just stopped doing his general managing stuff and became a consultant.
Yeah, essentially a consultant.
He would be hired around the clock to help. He's like the fixer.
It's funny because also I don't mean to be rude to Bob Myers when I say this, but like, good job you drafted Steph Curry. It was a big risk and you nailed it. Klay Thompson, good job. Let's face it, you lucked into Draymond Green. He was a second-round draft pick. You got an undersized 4.
You got a coach, though.
Who Steve Kerr was able to mold into what he has become. The one thing Bob Myers that I will commend him on is firing Mark Jackson when there was some semblance of success with Mark Jackson and going on to hire a relatively unproven head coach in Steve Kerr. And it just so happens that Steve Kerr then blossomed into the best, if not the second best coach of this era behind maybe Eric Spoelstra. I mean, that's more 1A, 1B. You're splitting hairs on who's. I know. He doesn't get the amount of respect he deserves because his championships were
the Mike Trout of coaching. Get out of Miami, man. Stop being so loyal to them.
But hey, he gets paid. He gets paid well. But so Bob Myers will take over. Nick Nurse will stay
And he
for a
should.
4th season, which he should. Thank you for saying that because I think Nick Nurse is a look, if we're talking best coaches in the league right now, Nick Nurse is up there top 5.
Yeah, Nick's done a
Nick
great
won
job.
a championship in Toronto.
Yeah.
Who else has done that? No one.
Exactly.
Nick Nurse is a darn good basketball
I think
coach.
Meyer's strength is that he just knows people, man.
Yes.
He's got an eye for what it takes to win. And that's why he's able to transition to help the Commanders rebuild and then come back to basketball and help them.
Exactly.
So,
do you want to hear the legacy that Morey leaves in Philly?
Oh, yes. Let's go through this.
Cut Julian Champagnie, the 3-point specialist that's helping San Antonio right now. Cut Julian Champagnie to sign who? Virginia's own Mac McClung so he could compete in the dunk contest. Ask me where Mac McClung is now. G League.
Back in Iron Bridge?
I actually don't even know if he's
Iron Gate? I think it's Iron Gate. Or Gate City. One of them.
Gate City.
Yeah.
Gate City. I don't even know if he's in the league anymore, if he's in the G League. Champagnie now a starter on the Spurs team. Also cut Isaiah Joe. Key rotation piece for OKC. Cut Paul Reed. An impactful center getting minutes for the Detroit Pistons off the bench. Traded who? Mike Jones? No, Jared McCain. He's now in the Thunder rotation, hitting big shots, it seems like, each and every single game. And then you look at the trail of relationships he has left in his wake. Ben Simmons is a terrible basketball player, and you can really point...
Great fisherman.
You can really point to his relationship with Morey for essentially giving him the yips and running him out of town. Harden publicly called him a liar on a tour in China. Patrick Beverly said he was a dishonest guy. McCain was messy all around, and Morey on the way out the door for McCain essentially said he didn't mean anything to this organization. And now Philly still owes Brooklyn a top 8 protected first in 2027 from the original Harden trade. George, Maxey, and Embiid are owed $153 million next season.
That is a criminally bad resume. And people would tell you, like, people would name him as one of the better GMs when they bring up the conversation.
Isn't that a crazy?
It's the perception, man. Like, we got to hold these people accountable. That is atrocious. That is, how do you keep your job bad? How did you get hired bad? You didn't even go over the stuff when he was with Houston.
No.
Yeah.
No. Because, oh my goodness, it was so bad. It's so
awful, man. So good riddance to him, and hopefully the 76ers turn a new leaf. I mean,
trade Joel this offseason, get a good GM in there who makes the right trade. Maybe Bob Myers can make that trade
instead of Morey.
Bro, hire us.
Yeah,
hire Fitz the Bill. We'll consult.
Call up Bruce.
Bruce will do a better job than Morey for sure.
So ridiculous.
All right, what's next?
Steelers are happy with backup options behind Aaron Rodgers.
Oh man. Man. Oh man. Give it to me, Schefter. What'd you say yesterday?
They've operated always as if he's there, that's great. They'd love to have him. And if he's not, they're ready to roll with Will Howard. And I know that people sound like, well, Will Howard. They really like Will Howard. They have Will Howard on the roster. They have Mason Rudolph on the roster. They drafted Drew Aller on the roster. So they have quarterbacks. It's not like if Rodgers all of a sudden decides at some point in the near future that he's not going to play, that they'll be left hanging high and dry. They're comfortable with those guys. They would like and want Aaron Rodgers to come back. That's their hope. But they've made the moves that they feel like they need to make to be ready for the coming season in the event that he decides that he's not going to be there.
I don't get the Steelers, man. I don't get the Steelers whatsoever. So now, because Schefter's a very plugged-in NFL insider. He's one of the best at his job. And whoever's leaking this to him, probably it seems like that's coming from the Pittsburgh Steelers side, right? And Schefter's reporting on it. But the Steelers have just not had a cohesive message whatsoever, specifically since Mike Tomlin walked out of the door. They have given us so many. There's a deadline. There's not a deadline. We want Rodgers. We don't need Rodgers. We're happy with our backups. We're not happy with our backups. We actually need Rodgers. We're going to meet with him in the facility this weekend. We didn't meet with him in the facility. Oh, he's still in Pittsburgh, but we haven't seen him. We're okay with him. We were okay without him. What? Those are all of the headlines we've gotten about Aaron Rodgers.
Everything I have to say can be summed up in this. You gotta be kidding me.
I was talking with Kobe over on Classic Rock, and he was like, if you Google like Pittsburgh newspapers and like Pittsburgh websites, all of their headlines right now have nothing to do with Aaron Rodgers. Yeah. And he was like, because all Pittsburgh fans are over him. They don't want him back. I think they ran a poll on one of the sports stations up there, and I think 30% of Pittsburgh Steelers fans want Aaron Rodgers back. You know what that means? 70% want to see him leave.
Like, what?
Because look,
what are we doing?
Let's face the cold, hard facts of the entire situation, right? Would you rather see what you've got in your young QB, your two young QBs, and Will Howard that you drafted last year with a late round pick? You got Drew Aller, you drafted with a mid-round pick this last year. Both guys that, I know Allen hates Drew Aller, but I'm going to use the P word here. Both guys who have potential, not going to be great guys, but
I thought you were going to say have a pulse, because that's all the potential that they have.
I mean, we don't know what they do or don't have in the NFL. You know why?
Will Howard.
Oh, I'd rather have either of them over Aaron Rodgers is what I'm getting at. Would you rather have a 42 mediocre quarterback who's going to leave you in the next offseason because he's going to retire?
Is he though?
And then do you even want him at age 43? He'd be better off retiring. And then you're left with trying to figure out if Will Howard, if Drew Aller are the guys, or if you draft another quarterback for a third consecutive year in what is expected to be a interesting quarterback draft next year. A good quarterback draft. I'm using the interesting word because this was supposed to be a good quarterback draft. It has the makings to be a very good quarterback draft. Do you do that next year, or do you just let Rodgers walk now, see what you've got in Will Howard and Drew Aller? Worst case scenario is that you win 8 games, because the best case scenario is that you go down in a flame, have your worst season in franchise history. Boom, bam, you get a top 5 pick and you're secured into a quarterback of your future.
What did we say the other day? Get him out of here.
I personally would take the best case scenario, let Rodgers walk, try my luck with Will Howard, Drew Aller, see if they're good. They're not. You know that. And then get a top 5 draft pick in next year's draft. It's okay to suck for a year. It's okay to tank.
We should get that on a terrible towel.
It's okay to suck.
It's okay to tank. I don't know if we can get it approved. It's okay to suck. 2026 NFL schedule. What to know ahead of Thursday's release.
Can I say something?
Yeah, say it. Go ahead. Be controversial.
I hate the NFL schedule release. Is that the do you like it?
I mean, I do like the Chargers anime stuff.
I like the Chargers. Yeah. I like that. Let me rephrase this, because you're right. You caught me where I'm lacking here. I like the fun teams who post their schedule. I think those are really fun and interesting, and they give me a good chuckle. I hate what the NFL and ESPN have been doing around this schedule release, where they're not leaking them. They're making these big announcements, and they're kind of giving us this trail of breadcrumbs. They're calling it matchup madness. They're making it this huge deal, the whole schedule release. I truly do not care who the Kansas City Chiefs are playing in week 7. I don't care who the Jaguars are playing in week 12. I care about who the Commanders are playing the entire season, and I care about who the Seahawks are playing. Everything else, I won't even know what's going to happen next. I don't know what's going to happen next weekend in the marquee matchups outside of Seahawks Commanders. And I truly don't really care. I like going week by week. So it's newsworthy that the NFL schedule is coming out tomorrow. All right, let's get a quick break in. We'll step aside, be back to wrap up this first hour right here on 106.1 ESPN Richmond.
Every pass.
This can all be decided on the starting line.
Matters.
How about a 359 to 109 miles an hour?
Every round.
001 on the Christmas tree.
Changes everything.
This one is for the World Championship.
The baddest promos on the planet are back.
Wow. Absolutely crazy.
The 2026 Red Line Oil PDRA Drag Racing Series comes to Virginia Motorsports Park May 21st through 23rd. Tickets at PDRA660.com.
I keep seeing celebrities posts, me in the 90s versus now. Well, the person staring at me in the mirror is definitely not the same person that could pull off bootcut jeans. Time creeps up on us so slowly. You don't see it until suddenly you do. Same thing goes for your bills. $1 here, an uptick there. It's a slow burn until one day you realize the price you're paying now is way higher than when you signed up. But at T-Mobile, customers had the lowest wireless bills versus Verizon and AT&T over the past 5 years. And with T-Mobile on their experience plans, you get a 5-year price guarantee, so you know exactly what your plan price will be for the next 5 years. So at least that's one thing that won't change over time. I can't guarantee you'll still look good with frosted tips, but T-Mobile can give you a clear guarantee on your wireless plan.
Lower bills based on Harris X billing snapshots from Q3 21 to Q4 25 compared to average AT&T and Verizon bills. Comparison excludes discounts, credits, and optional charges. Price guarantee on talk, text, and data exclusions like taxes and fees apply. See T-Mobile.com.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm.
Ask yourself this question. Is it really worth holding on to that timeshare that you know you need to get rid of? Here's the truth. The average maintenance fee just went up over 17%. That could have been 117%, and there's nothing you can do about it. When you buy a timeshare, you give them a blank check for annual maintenance and assessment fees. I'm Chuck McDowell, founder of Wesley Financial Group. For 15 years, I've helped over 50,000 families cancel their timeshare. Not sell it, not transfer it, cancel it. Did you buy a timeshare because they told you it was a great investment and your maintenance fees would never go up? That's a lie. Are you ready to get rid of your timeshare once and for all? Simply call us and I'll send you our timeshare exit kit that explains all your options for cancellation.
Call Wesley now for your timeshare exit kit. 800-979-3535. That's 800-979-3535. 800-979-3535.
Did you know that you can find the best radio station on your dial in HD? Well, you can. Catch us on your HD dial at 103.7 HD2. Just another place to find your home for sports in the capital city. ESPN Richmond.
Welcome back in. Fitz the Bill on this Wednesday morning. Appreciate you clocking in, being part of the show on this Wednesday. We're streaming live on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. If you want to watch, just type in ESPN Richmond. We'll pop right on up. And you can like, comment, subscribe, be part of the stream over there. Coming up, hour number 2, Kyle Williams. He's the Nats beat writer for the Baltimore Banner. He'll be joining us right at the top of the hour. Then at the bottom of the hour, Sia Najad. He's a host analyst for CBS Sports HQ, host analyst for Sportsline. He's the host of the Early Edge podcast. It's a daily betting podcast produced by Sportsline. Sia is fantastic. He'll help us break down the PGA Championship, so you don't want to miss that at 9:30. Man, I'm excited to get a little vibe check going for the Nationals. I've got an interesting question I'm going to throw to Kyle when he comes on, because I'm always curious about the relationship between teams in the same city, right? Nationals, Wizards, Commanders, Capitals. The Commanders had that success for 9 months in 2024, first year of Jaden Daniels. This last year was a little underwhelming, I think is a nice way to say it. Should bounce back, should be good next year. But the interesting thing is the Wizards have all of this hope going for them. Heck, the Commanders, after drafting Sonny Styles and Antonio Williams, they've got all this hope moving into next season. There's all this hope around those two franchises. And then there's the Nationals. And I'm curious if the Wizards winning the draft lottery impacts anything going for the Nationals in terms of their rebuild.
Oh, if I was the Nationals and the Wizards tried to talk to me, I would just point to 2019 and be like, listen, brother, you ain't never gotten close to this.
Look, did we sell out for this 2019 World Series?
We beat a team that was actively cheating.
And we sold the next decade of success for that title. And you know what? I think that's a deal you can make.
And I really think you get about a decade window in a championship if you've never won one.
Oh, 1,000,000%. But I am curious, does the front office care? Like, does the front office have anything of like, man, we're like third fiddle now all of a sudden in this city after being second fiddle.
Some
like
neighborhood rivals.
Yeah, they went from being, heck, in 2019, you would argue they were first fiddle. Man, I'm going back to these fiddle analogies. There's something about some bluegrass music that's been on my mind the last week. But they were first fiddle. Then they became second fiddle. Now they're third fiddle. Maybe even fourth fiddle. I wonder if the Nats will just the vibes on it. Kyle Williams will be joining us in hour number 2. Stick with us right here. 106.1 ESPN Richmond.
This summer, show your team just how much they're appreciated. With Classic Party Rentals of Virginia, you can create a seamless, super fun company celebration. complete with spacious tents, comfortable seating, stylish tables, and premium restroom trailers for added convenience. From start to finish, we help you host your team so everyone can call it a win. Visit us online at classicpartyrentalsva.com.
Take your game to the next level at Back 9 Golf in Midlothian. You can work one-on-one with our PGA Pro and TPI instructors using full swing technology trusted at the highest level of the game. Dial in your swing, then step into the lounge or conference room to take a call, meet with clients, or just keep the day moving. It's golf, work, and downtime all in one place. Grand opening May 15th, 4 to 8, behind Sam's Club on Midlothian Turnpike. Google Back 9 Midlothian to learn more and book your time at Back 9 Golf, where golf never sleeps.
This is a special notice to U.S. taxpayers owing $10,000 or more to the IRS. Tax Relief Advocates is urgently notifying taxpayers that tax relief initiatives are now available that may significantly reduce or eliminate what you owe. If you're afraid of an IRS lien, levy, or wage garnishment, don't lose hope. You can now take advantage of these current relief programs to end all collections, reduce the amount you owe, and resolve your tax problem. Even if you have years of unfiled tax returns or are already in a payment plan, you may still qualify for significant relief. Struggling taxpayers can now get relief they need during these hard economic times. A hotline has been established by Tax Relief Advocates for you to call and see what you qualify for. They are A+ rated with the BBB and have over 1,000 5-star reviews. Don't wait. Call 800-575-9087. 800-575-9087. That's 800-575-9087 or simply visit tra.com.
Your home for Richmond Spiders athletics all year round. W291CL Lakeside Richmond. WURV HD2 Richmond. We are 1061 ESPN. You're listening to the second hour of Fitz the Bill on 1061 ESPN.
Welcome in hour number 2 of Fitz the Bill right here on 1061 ESPN Richmond. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, Allen alongside. Appreciate you clocking in, getting your day started with us right here on ESPNRichmond.com, ESPN Richmond app, 1061 on the old-fashioned dial, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. We're streaming live. You can be part of the show here in hour number 2, calling or texting into the Radkey Insurance phone line, 804-327-0888, radkeyinsurance.com to get started on your free quote today. We've got a fantastic second hour set up. Sia Najad is joining us at 9:30, help preview the PGA Championship. And right now we're joined by Kyle Williams, Nats beat writer for the Baltimore Banner. Good morning, Kyle. Appreciate you joining us on this Wednesday.
Appreciate you having me. It's good to be on, Cam. Looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued in the rebuild vibe check here early into the season because I know no one was expecting the Nationals to be World Series contenders. Look, I'm a realist. I know they weren't expected to be this fantastic world beater team, but here early on in the year, how are the vibes around the team in terms of where they're at in their rebuild?
Yeah, I mean, I would say that the vibes are, positive. Just when you look at, what they're doing on the run scoring, to start the season, I believe they're top 2 in runs scored, total runs scored after last night's, 10-run spot against the Reds. But, the vibes in the locker room are good when, everybody's contributing. But just the overall brand of baseball they're trying to play, everyone seems, kind of bought into what Paul Taboni and Blake Batura have been trying to implement. Obviously, there's going to be rough patches. Not everything's going to be smooth. But when you look at, their unexpected start to the season from a win-loss perspective, combined with what they're, building in the minor leagues, there is a lot of optimism buzzing around the Nationals right now.
Yeah, what they've got building in the minor leagues, I'm glad you brought that up. Just an hour north in Fredericksburg here from us in Richmond, also my hometown. So I'm a big Fred Nats guy. I follow along with what they're doing. That's their low A, but they've got some good guys that have come through there that a couple of them have made their debut. James Wood, one of them. But what do they have building in the minors that they're excited for?
Yeah, just when you look at, I mean, obviously Eli Willis, the number one pick from last year, just he continues to impress with his bat and his defense. He's a guy that, is already, on top prospects list, just given where they took him. Obviously Ronnie Cruz has probably been one of the biggest risers in baseball, just, in terms of his slugging. He's athletic, so he'll have room to, continue growing and developing on the defensive side. But he's probably, I would say, been one of the biggest risers just in the minors this season. They've really been trying to work with him on getting him to hit the ball hard at good angles and just continuing to build his strength in the right way. And he's just, working on being more selective at the plate, which has in turn helped him when it comes to getting those pitches that he can do damage on. And then, just they have a Seaver King, has completely altered his approach in a way. He's completely cut down on, the chase that really plagued him last year. And so that's been a big reason for an uptick in his game. Obviously, they're still waiting on, Travis to recover and a couple of pitchers to rehab. But, Ethan Petrie's another guy who is really stood out. Yermi Cabrera just got promoted not too long ago, but I believe the other day. And so, yeah, they have a bunch of intriguing long-term prospects. And I think that would be the best way to kind of characterize their farm system. They have guys who are producing and are very talented, but they don't have anybody, I would say, that's, immediately knocking down the door of the majors. They're more a year or two away.
Kyle Williams, Nats beat writer for the Baltimore Banner, joining us on this Wednesday morning. There's an interesting split that the Nats have got going on this year. You mentioned their good start to the year. They're 2 games below 500. But Kyle, 6-13 at home, 14-9 on the road this year early on. What's the cause for that interesting home and away split in your mind?
That's been, since I joined the beat, that's something that, Blake's been asked about, and he hasn't seemed too concerned about it. He hasn't seemed too concerned with just kind of that overall split. I would say it's just kind of, schedule randomness up to this point. I wouldn't say there's anything, I would say that's leaning one way or the other that, this is why they're having, not too much success at home versus, say, on the road. But, I would say just, chalk up to schedule randomness and just kind of the randomness of the season. Against the Brewers, they were probably a hit or two away from winning 2 games in that series. But I remember that series, they didn't really, do well with runners in scoring position. And, they scored 2 runs over 2 games. So it's just those little margins that could easily flip a game. So I wouldn't, say too much definitively that, they need to do this better at home versus the road.
Yeah, that makes sense. Sometimes it's just that you get the best teams at home early on in the year, and you've got your quote unquote winnable games on the road. So yeah, sample's big throughout an entire season. We'll revisit that at the end of the year to see if that's a lasting trend through the year. Kyle Williams, Nats beat writer for the Baltimore Banner, joining us on this Wednesday morning. Kyle, I love Reddit, right? It is such a good place to find rumors. It's such a good place to get a vibe check on fans. And social media as a whole. But something simmering under the surface is CJ Abrams. Seems like some fans love him, some fans hate him. Some fans have proposed trades. Maybe they should move off of him. Could that be a route that you could see the Nationals go with CJ Abrams?
It's going to be discussed about ad nauseum until either, an extension is reached or some conclusion is met. I know one of my colleagues at the Baltimore Banner, Andrew Golden, who, used to cover, the Nationals for the Washington Post, I believe he reported earlier this season that, I believe he reported that, the team in 2024 that the team offered him a long-term contract extension, and then, the discussions didn't go too far. And obviously that was under a previous regime. But, I wouldn't imagine much has changed since, with Paul just getting in, still trying to survey the landscape. But, CJ to me is an interesting case of, he's having a really good start to the season, particularly with runners in scoring position. It seems like whenever there's runners on, he's doing a really good job of knocking them in. He has a 921 OPS, but then you have to look at the defensive numbers that are kind of, I don't want to say holding him back, but I mean, he could really elevate into, a different tier of shortstop. I mean, he's had at least 3 WAR each of the past 3 seasons, I believe. And that's just, mostly due to his bat. But yeah, it's just the defense. Like, is he that's probably the biggest consternation when it comes to his long-term future, is because is he a shortstop long-term? Will he have to move to a different position? Because the defensive metrics aren't, quite frankly, they aren't good. They're not good at the moment. And so when you have a player like that, it can be polarizing to an extent, just because you know how good he is with the bat. You see how talented just overall he is. But then it's just, can he be more consistent on the defensive side? That can really go a long way in like deciding what his, long-term future with the Nats, and just overall what the contract that he's going to ink is going to, be in terms of dollar amounts. You see a guy like Nico Horner, who he might not have the power totals that, CJ has, but he's a really good base runner, probably arguably one of the best defenders at second base, who can also play shortstop at a, average to above average level, good level even. It's just that Dansby Swanson is, the man over there in Chicago, where, obviously I came from before the banner. And so when you have, a player like that, I believe he got 6 years, 141, and he's not a power hitter, but then CJ has the power, but he doesn't have, the overall defensive impact that Nico has. It's an interesting conversation.
So you mentioned it a couple of times. You've come over from Chicago. You're newer on the Nats beat. I do want to kind of touch on that a little bit, because you're on the White Sox beat up there in Chicago, right?
Yes.
Man, you went from and I don't mean to be rude to the White Sox here. I lived in Charlotte for a while, which all their farm systems are down there. So I saw firsthand the guys that they were bringing up. Not necessarily the most fun, the most electric type of guys. You went from the White Sox to the Nats, man. I need you to start getting some wins underneath your belt with your beats.
It's funny, a lot of people, you're not the first person.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, with the White Sox, I left them at an interesting point of their rebuild, in a sense, in that they just signed Munetaka Murakami, one of the best power hitters, who has actually translated after many thought that, the end zone contact rates were going to be really, really low, which they have been, but he's been able to augment that with his power. But yeah, it's exciting though, kind of being here for the covering the Nationals at the ground level of their rebuild, in a way, in that, Paul's coming over in from Boston, very well regarded, and the staff that he's accumulated are all well regarded throughout the industry. And just, seeing how they're trying to, modernize the organization. I mean, even with this start, you see, Blake's been very intentional about, putting in extra work, being detailed, showing good plays, showing bad plays, like teaching. And you're really seeing like, okay, they're trying to build this the right way. They're trying to take those positive steps in the right way. Now it's about seeing if they can execute and capitalize on it. But yeah, I'm coming from a place in Chicago where, I think my second year in the business, well, no, actually it was my first year in the business, was when the 2024 White Sox season, when they set the loss record. And so, everything after that is just, very, very interesting to cover.
Yeah, I mean, there's only one place to go after you cover a team that set the loss record. But Kyle Williams joining us. He's the Nats beat writer now for the Baltimore Banner. You mentioned you're on the ground level of the rebuild with the Nationals. You're seeing them take these steps forward. Has there been a surprising step forward? Maybe some guys that are surprised around the clubhouse that, this has been better than expected. This maybe has been worse than expected. Has there been a big surprise around the clubhouse or around the beat early on, 42 games into the national season?
I would say, that's a great question. I would say I'm going to go with probably Foster Griffin, just how well he's pitched since coming over. And just in the sense that, you never know what's going to happen when you bring a guy that, was in the United States, goes over to Japan to kind of, reinvent himself and then come back. He's a guy with 7 pitches. Doesn't really have, a upper echelon heater, but he succeeds just by getting a lot of weak contact on the ground. And so I would say just his success early on has probably been one of the biggest surprises. I mean, I think he has a 2.12 ERA over his first 8 starts, which is, I think anybody would have expected that at this point in the season. And so he's probably, I would say, been the biggest surprise just in terms of, just his ability to succeed despite not having what, you would think is a gaudy fastball, which is, typically a recipe for success in, Major League Baseball. And then just for me, seeing James Wood's, opposite field power in person is just unreal. Like just how easy he can get opposite field hits and homers is remarkable.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question on James Wood and what he has done to this lineup with that power that he has. What is the key to Wood's success in your view? Because you don't often see players like him have that opposite field type of power.
I think it's just, continuing to be selective and just trying to, get pitches in the zone that he knows he can do damage on, because when he does make contact, typically it's good things for the Nationals in terms of extra base hits just because of how strong of a hitter he is. And obviously, given how tall he is, there's always going to be probably the, swing and miss component to his game. But, as long as but as we learn in this, in this game with a guy like, say, obviously different player, different type of hitter, but Kyle Schwarber, he's a guy who's going to have some strikeouts, have some low moments, but when you have, just immense power in your bat, it's so valuable in today's game. You can't build a contender without having a certain amount of like homers or slug. You just need that like bases clearing power because, that's how, as you see in the playoffs, it's a lot less, being able to single and double your way. It's like, you have to homer your way sometimes. You have to just diversify your offense in a sense. And just James continuing, to fine tune that approach. He's even taken a lot of walks. I believe he had a multi-walk game last week, his first in a long time, and just continue to, take those walks, steal a base every now and then, just be an overall impactful player that's going to go a long way for him just because, the strikeouts are going to be there for him. But when you have, a guy slugging, 538, it's a trade-off that you're probably willing to live with.
I love it. Kyle, really appreciate your time on this Wednesday morning. Enjoy the rest of your week. We got to catch up again soon.
Yeah, can't wait. And just, anytime I'm available. So appreciate you for having me on.
I love it. Appreciate you, Kyle. He's the Nationals beat writer for the Baltimore Banner. You can find him at K_Williams Media on X. Fantastic follow. Great stuff. He's newer on the beat, but he has made a impact already. James Wood, he mentioned it. He's starting to draw walks a little bit. Got a 244 average. James Wood, though, has a 392 on base percentage, which is tops on the team, just barely beating out CJ Abrams, who leads the team with a 293 batting average and a 391 on base percentage. That's going to be a fascinating discussion that we'll have with Kyle throughout this season up until the trade deadline. What are the Nationals going to do with CJ Abrams? And that's probably going to be hanging over him because he has flashed on the field. He's also flashed a couple of times at the old BetMGM.
Yeah, I was gonna say, man, my MGM is CJ Abrams is my spirit animal.
I bet he is. I bet he is.
I've actually seen him in there.
I bet you have. I bet you. As long as he's staying on the tables and he's away from the sports book side of it.
Back in the day, I definitely was up there because I used to do stand up on Mondays, and I would roll over to MGM, and there was definitely one time I was like, "Don't you got a game tomorrow?"
He did. It don't matter. He's got to quickly hit some blackjack. He got to hit 21 before he hits.
When the itch hits you, you got to scratch it, man. And if I was his age and had his amount of money, I can't lie to you, I would have a residency in MGM.
And that's when the issues start happening, and that's when the problems.
It's only an issue if you get it. Was it E6?
E6, yeah. Well, which he has
or
been,
E5?
which he has been. Kyle just mentioned it. His fielding has left a little something to be desired. He's got a fielding percentage of 96%.
Yeah, it's E6. So only an issue when it's an E6.
He racks up a lot. He's got 7 E6s on his season so far.
And his issue is he's a free swinger, man. Not to get like super into the minutia of batting, but it really is a simple concept. And people make it complicated. And I think some of our greatest hitters of all time have explained it that way as well. And I think a lot of these young hitters, especially when they're in the leadoff position, don't understand plate approach and the importance of plate approach. They don't see pitches. They're not patient. CJ is one of those guys, but when he's hitting, It's pretty darn good.
293 this season, best mark on the Nationals. Yeah,
he'll go 293, and then he'll pull a Michael Harris, and he'll be like 1 for 60 in a month. It's so confusing.
You gotta love it. Baseball's a fun sport.
It really is maddening. Yeah. Baseball and golf, 2 sports. I don't know why you do it to yourself.
And we'll be talking about golf in just a little bit with Sia Najad. He's a host and analyst for Sportsline. There you go. PGA Championship this weekend. He'll be chatting some betting preview stuff with us at 9:30. So in about 12 minutes or so, we'll get a quick break in. Step aside. Some breaking news just came out in regards to the Washington Commanders. We'll break that down coming up next right here on 106.1 ESPN Richmond.
Do you work in healthcare? Your new future starts here. Eisenhower Health is recruiting for a variety of specialties in Southern California's beautiful Palm Springs area. Join a team where advanced care, compassion, and community come together at one of America's premier medical centers. At Eisenhower Health, you will deliver top-tier care with advanced technology while enjoying an exceptional quality of life. Find your place at Eisenhower Health. Visit emc.org/healthcarepros. That's emc.org/healthcarepros. We'll welcome you home.
Tune in to the Henrico Huddle with Dennis Bickmeyer the last Wednesday of each month, afternoons on 106.1 ESPN, or updates online at henricosea.com.
This is advertising material. Medical mistakes can devastate families when doctors fail to provide the care you deserve. Alexander Schnarr trial attorneys stand ready to fight for justice. They recovered over $2 billion for their clients injured by negligence, surgical errors, and misdiagnoses. They take on powerful hospitals and their insurance companies, so you don't have to, but time is limited. Call now for a free consultation. No fees unless they win your case. Alexander Schnarr trial attorneys, 877-222-6666 or alexwins.law. Past results do not guarantee future outcomes. Every case is different. Phil George's licensed attorney in Virginia is responsible for legal work. Office is located at 500 East Main Street, Suite 1600-113, Norfolk, Virginia, 23510.
106.1 ESPN on-air interviews presented by the Herman Allen Plumbing Heating and Cooling Hotline with Lennox products that make the air in your home absolutely perfect.
Stop by Grabo Sports Cards, the preeminent sports card shop in the Mid-Atlantic, located next to Parlay Bar and Lounge and Scott's Addition for a wide selection of baseball, football, basketball, soccer, UFC, WWE, Pokemon cards, and more. Check us out on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, or our website at grabos.co, or pop into one of our live breaks on Fanatics Live or eBay Live. Thank you from Grabo Sports Cards.
Get ready, Richmond, for the Digital Impact Conference, May 22nd through May 24th at the Stony Point Fashion Park, 9200 Stony Point Parkway. Tickets are going fast on Eventbrite. Social media managers, content creators, digital marketers, and AI enthusiasts. Learn how to scale your brand, grow your influence at the Digital Impact Conference, May 22nd through the 24th. Get tickets now on Eventbrite. You can't afford to miss it.
Powered by NM Legacy Marketing at Stony Point Fashion Park.
We're living through a monetary crime scene, and your IRA or 401k is a key victim. Hi, Dr. Ron Paul here. In 1971, gold was $35 an ounce. After the dollar was cut loose from it, inflation soared. And in just 9 years, gold hit $850. People who diversified into precious metals survived and thrived. Today, we're in a worse position because we face inflation and massive debt. Fortunately, gold is still an option. My trusted friends at Birch Gold Group can help you own gold inside your retirement account without penalties or taxes. Start now by getting a free info kit on gold. Text the word SECURE to 989898. We're facing the same monetary chaos as the 70s with significantly more debt. Get your free info kit from Birch Gold. Just text SECURE to the number 989898.
Coming up on the Wednesday Mid-Major Match Show, we'll talk about the latest NFL schedule leaks, and Kevin Sheehan will join us to talk all things DC sports. 4 until 6 here on 106.1 ESPN.
This is Joe Simpson with the Atlanta Braves, and when I'm on my road trip to D.C. and Baltimore, I always tune in to 106.1 ESPN Richmond for all my sports news. They've got you covered.
Breaking news. Never thought I'd say breaking news over God Save the Queen. Good Wednesday morning. Good Wednesday morning. Not a great one. Not a great theme song for a country.
What?
Not a great theme. I know it's OG and everything, but not great.
Why? Why would you not want to save the Queen?
Is it just too like slow? God save the queen. No, I don't.
It's exactly what you would expect from people who still have castles and dragons. And things like that.
That's a good point. That's a good point. They still have like a mob.
Wait, did you just say
like dragons?
Yeah,
Alan, dragons aren't real.
Medieval times, man.
All right. So, breaking news just came out about 10 minutes ago. Adam Schefter is reporting, and by reporting, I mean just confirming because the NFL has let it out that the Commanders and Colts will meet in London on October 4th. Mark your calendars now. Get your coffee ready. A 9:30 a.m. kick between the Commanders and Colts on October 4th.
I'm going to do it this year. You're
going to go?
I'm going to go.
I'm excited to hear about how London is. Unfortunately, the food there is not as good as Indianapolis.
Yeah, that's going to be the problem.
Bangers and mash.
You know, I like my eats, man, and I'm not really looking forward to that part.
Yeah, well, I've heard they've got really good Indian food in Britain, in London.
We'll have to see.
That's what Ted Lasso taught me.
Yeah.
Although that was technically Richmond, wasn't it? Not Richmond, Virginia, of course. I mean, like AFC Richmond was the team. Was it in London? Is that a neighborhood of London?
I actually have not gotten around to watching Ted Lasso.
What?
I know. I don't watch TV, man. I just watch sports. And then,
it's a sports TV show.
Yeah, I don't watch sports TV shows. I watch actual sports.
That's crazy.
I know, man. I have a season of watching things. We've talked about
I understand that. But
that comes after the NBA Finals.
Okay, I get it.
I will be a Ted Lasso expert at the end of the summer.
Good show. You'll cry, you'll laugh.
I imagine
you'll
it is
good.
I hear great things about it. I'm not knocking it. I just haven't seen it.
And they just announced season 4.
Sounds like perfect binge watching.
Yeah, it is. You'll be able to watch in 2 days.
I can't wait.
2 days. But the Commanders will head over the pond. They'll play the Colts. Should be fun. I see. This is now undermining my take earlier in hour number 1 that I hate the NFL schedule release.
Yeah, because you seem pretty happy.
Like I said, though, I did add this caveat. I don't mind it for the Seahawks and I don't mind it for the Commanders.
That's true.
But I don't need to know who's playing in week 7 in the AFC South because that has no impact on my teams.
Yeah, and I don't really care who's playing in the first game either because we're going to watch it regardless.
Exactly. They're like, this is the big game. And I'm like,
you could football deprived by the first kickoff.
You could put Raiders Bengals on my television, 2 of the worst teams from the league last year. And I'd be like, I'm so tuned in right now.
Sitting there Thursday.
That's what the NFL does so well. They've got storylines for everyone. Like literally every team you could go on and be like, convince yourself it's going to be a fun game.
Well, it's like I was telling Lake yesterday too. It's also one of the few leagues where when it starts, everybody thinks they have a chance.
Yeah.
Like they
do such a good job at creating that.
There's no tanking involved or any of that nonsense. They just, everybody's there to compete for at least the first month.
Yeah.
And then after that, we might see some teams that are just like, let's pack it in.
Usually
around like week 7.
You see Raiders do that. Yeah, the second you're like 1-4 or 0-5, I think teams start being like, yeah, this isn't our year. Maybe next year. I
forgot our Raiders caller from last year.
Raider Chris.
Yeah, Raider Chris. Raider Chris, if you're listening, I'm optimistic on you guys this year.
I'm optimistic too. Yeah. If there's still space on the bandwagon, feel free, give us a call. Please let us have a ticket. I'll buy a share of stock.
I know the Truth Bomb last year probably put us at odds, but this year I'm optimistic.
I was with Chris last year.
Yeah, you guys were optimistic.
I was optimistic last year.
I said you're going to be at best 1 game better.
Can I say an intrusive thought going into this season?
Yeah, say something crazy.
Well, we all were really high on Pete Carroll and the Raiders.
We're not.
Okay. Jack Fitzpatrick was really high, and so was Raider. Everyone sans Alan Sandage over here. We thought that Pete Carroll would bring a level of maturity to that team, and they would be much more competent. I thought they could even sneak into the playoffs. I had faith in Geno, blah, 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 blah. Right?
Just a rule of thumb, when somebody like Pete Carroll is allowed to leave the building, his time is up. The Seahawks would have never let him go.
Thank you for saying that.
Yeah,
Thank you for saying that.
Never let him go if he still had it in.
That leads me to this intrusive thought. You just walked right into it. We're doing the same thing with Harbaugh and the Giants. I'm high on the Giants, right? I had an overreaction Monday 2 weeks ago, or it was after the NFL draft, and I said this team in the NFC East is a dark horse to make the playoff. They have the necessary components to be a playoff team. Jackson Dart looks to be like a good quarterback. Their defensive front 7 is monstrous, even without Dexter Lawrence. They've got guys that can get after the quarterback. I absolutely loved the Arvell Reese pick. But I fear we're walking into the same trap we walked into last year with the Raiders. Because why did Harbaugh leave the Baltimore Ravens? He's failed. He wasn't able to do it. Guess who has had the second most blown lead losses in the NFL?
I know. It's really bad. It's not even close.
Over the since Brian Daboll, who just got fired from the Giants, took over the Giants, he led the league with the most blown lead losses. Second place was Harbaugh.
And then the fourth quarter is really, really bad.
So, I'm just saying, I feel that's an intrusive thought. I think Harbaugh's still a good coach. I think the Giants will be good. But there is a part of my brain that's like, hey, man, we did this last year.
I will say the other thing that makes me more optimistic that Harbaugh won't be Pete Carroll, his wagon isn't hitched to a three-wheel wagon.
Geno Smith?
Yeah.
All right.
That was also a telltale that it was a wrap, bro.
Yeah.
The Geno magic is done. And it honestly...
Where even is Geno now?
I think
where did he end up signing?
I want to say he went back to the Jets.
Was it the Jets? Yeah, it was the Jets. Yeah. Well, weird stuff.
Yeah. Just, again, I think, in that case, you should have gave the credit to the offensive coordinator, not the coach. So it would have been better.
I see what you mean.
Yeah, it would have been better if the coordinator came with Geno.
Yeah, instead he went with, was that first year? No, Kubiak's first year. No, it was Shane Waldron into Ryan Grubb. And then he left for Vegas and he went with Chip Kelly, blah, blah, blah. The rest is history. I don't have to rehash it. All right, let's get a quick break in. Sia Najad, he's a host and analyst for CBS Sports HQ. He's the host of the Daily Wager, coming up next right here on 106.1 ESPN Richmond.
Nothing Bun Cakes is all about bringing joy. We're your one-stop shop for all occasions and holiday celebrations. Stop by any one of our 5 Nothing Bun Cakes bakeries in the Richmond area or visit online at nothingbuncakes.com.
Looking for the perfect golf course? Check out RVA's best kept secret, Queenfield Golf Club, just a few minutes past Mechanicsville. Reserve your tee time today at queenfieldgolf.com.
Ready or not, summer is coming, and Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance is on now. Right now through May 25th, get up to 70% off everything home at Wayfair. Plus, score amazing doorbuster deals all sale long and surprise flash deals on Memorial Day. We're talking thousands of products at every style and budget. Now is the time to save big on must-haves for your patio, backyard, and beyond. These savings won't last, so don't wait. Shop Wayfair's Memorial Day clearance now through May 25th.
Wayfair, every style, every home.
Spring cleaning isn't just for your house, it's for your life. If your job is getting old, it's time to clear the clutter and spring into IT. Go to My Computer Career.
My Computer Career helped me get the skills and certifications I needed to start a new life as an IT professional in months, not years.
Earn the certifications that top employers are looking for right now. Visit mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation to see if it's time to spring into IT. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
WorkZone is the one-stop shop for the hardworking man and woman. When it comes to the biggest selection, WorkZone has it. Over 15 brands of boots and all toe types, even boots for the ladies. WorkZone has jackets in stock for all seasons. See why WorkZone will be your first and only stop for the best brands and comfort in workwear. And a gift card from WorkZone is always the perfect gift. Visit WorkZone on Temple Avenue next to the Ford dealership, WorkZoneVA.com, and check them out on Instagram and Facebook. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6.
Today, people with disabilities can achieve a better life experience with Able Now, a tax advantage savings account specifically designed for people with disabilities. Able Now accounts help eligible individuals save and invest their own money without endangering certain disability benefits. Learn if you or someone you know is eligible for an Able Now account at ablenow.com. ablenow.com. This message is provided by Able Now, administered by Commonwealth Savers.
There's only one Ozempic.
Hello, I'm Ozempic, and I'm other GLP-1s, kind of like him. Ozempic, you redid your jingle? Thanks for noticing. Catchy, right? No. Okay, then. Well, ask your doctor about which FDA-approved uses of me, the Ozempic pen, may be right for you. Call 1-833-OZEMPIC or visit Ozempic.com to view the medication guide and learn more about Ozempic semaglutide injection, 2 milligrams. Only Novo Nordisk makes FDA-approved Ozempic.
There's only one Ozempic.
I told you it was catchy.
You think a ticket for not wearing your seatbelt is the worst that could happen. A fine, an inconvenience, a little embarrassment. But then comes the crash. There are injuries. a hospital bed, the long road to recovery, the moments you'll miss. Suddenly, a ticket doesn't seem so bad. That ticket? That was nothing. Click it. Don't risk it. Paid for by NHTSA.
1061 ESPN in your pockets. Download the app for on-demand shows, live updates, podcasts, and sports takes hotter than a game-winning drive. Your team, your way. Get it now.
Here comes the money.
Here we go. Money talk.
Here comes the money. Money, 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 money.
Welcome back in. Fitz the Bill on this Wednesday morning. I'm Jack Fitzpatrick, Allen alongside. Appreciate you clocking in, getting your morning started with us. PGA Championship begins tomorrow. It tees off. And we bring it on Sia Nejad, host and analyst for CBS Sports HQ. He's the host of The Early Edge with Sportsline as well. Sia, good morning. How are you doing on this Wednesday?
How am I doing? We've got the PGA Championship. We got the NFL schedule release coming up. The Wizards got the number one pick. How am I doing? I'm doing great, man.
We could start right there with the Wizards. We're still riding the high of the draft lottery. Who you got them taking number one?
I mean, it has to be Devonta, right? Unless he just creates such a I know he wants to stay in Utah, so that's a thing. But I think it's going to be Devonta, and we've got. This is a deep team now. I understand they're not a championship level team, but to me, this is a very deep team with a ton of talent that a lot of people don't know about yet.
See, don't let me dream. I was already dreaming in hour number one of the show about what it could potentially look like. Maybe I'm already calling a shot with a first round victory next year with the playoffs. I won't get too far ahead of myself. I'll focus back in on the PGA Championship. I don't want to get carried away when it comes to the Washington Wizards because odds are that'll end in heartbreak. But the PGA Championship tees off tomorrow. What do you expect out of this course over the week? What are you looking for here? Kind of just big picture before we zero in on some certain things that we'll be looking out for.
Yeah, it's hard to say in terms of expectations, and I'm really curious to see day one because there's a lot of people who think, hey, just being accurate off the tee and just making sure you're in the fairway to set up those approach shots to these big undulating greens like that's where you want to be. But then there's others. Rory in his presser yesterday said, hey, there's really no strategy off the tee, just bombs away and see what happens from there. I'm looking for guys who are good drivers off the tee, so I'm kind of splitting it down the middle there. I want you to be straight. I want you to be accurate and long, but I don't need you to be super long, and I don't need you to be super accurate. What I'm really focused on, actually, is the approach play, because these are huge greens, which in some senses you're thinking, okay, well, that's good. Greens in regulation is going to be high, and then it just comes down to the putter. But the truth is, these greens are really undulating. They're very contoured. And if you are not on the proper spectrum of these greens, you're going to have a tough time. So I do think approach play is going to have like primary importance. And then just the ability to lag putt and knock down, a tough 8-footer, 12-footer. I think that's going to come into play as well.
You keep mentioning the greens. I've read they're turtle shaped. I'm really excited to see how it plays a role in this week. But who does that benefit? Is there someone that you're looking at that you think these styles of greens benefits?
Yeah, I mean, obviously they benefit some of the better putters on tour, and again, some of the guys who are going to be dialed on approach. But I mean, if you're looking at good putters, look no further than some of the guys at the top of the board. Predictably, these are the best golfers because they have everything in their bag, including a good putter. A couple of guys, Matt Fitzpatrick and Cameron Young, of course, they'll. Like Cam Young failed with the putter on Sunday, missing a couple of 3-footers. But overall, guys like that are very confident with the putter Thursday through Sunday, and that's something I like to see. I mean, obviously, guys like Sam Burns, a very good putter. There's a lot of guys down the list that are good in that department. So I don't think you can leave that out. I mean, I understand that putting has a lot of variance to it. But guys, especially on Sunday, if you're picking a winner, guys that are not intimidated by the moment are willing to knock down that 8-footer for the win or to stay in contention. Guys like Cam Young, Matt Fitzpatrick are very good at stuff like that.
Sia Nejad joining us on this Wednesday morning. And Sia, I want to talk a little bit about Rory McIlroy because yesterday he left his practice round early. He was having issues with a blister on his foot. Is that something that concerns you when it comes to Rory this week, or is that just a whole lot of nothing?
It's probably a whole lot of nothing. I mean, that's the type of injury. It's not like a soft tissue or like a back injury that Colin Morikawa has been dealing with. That actually does concern me. But with Rory McIlroy, I don't think that's going to be a big deal. It was a little discouraging seeing how he did at the Truist yesterday. The short game was was off. I think he's fine. Like from a betting standpoint, he's not a guy I'm on. I think the odds are too short. I like guys that are a little bit longer. With that said, it wouldn't surprise me if he had a great tournament. It would surprise me if he had a bad tournament. I think he's inevitable to be a top 20, top 15, maybe even top 10 guy, but he's not a guy that I'm betting to win this tournament.
So another guy that has very short odds that no one loves betting because there's just no value really in ever betting him, but I do have to bring him up. It's Scotty Scheffler, mainly because this is his final major as a 20-something-year-old. He's 29 years old. By the time the next one rolls around, he'll be the big 3-0. What does Scotty have to do this weekend to win?
It's so funny that he's only 29 because
you're telling me. He looks like he's 35. No offense to Scotty.
No, and he acts like it too. Like he feels like such an adult that I look at him much older than him, and I feel like he's older than me for some reason. Listen, I mean, Scotty's had 3 second-place finishes in a row, which very easily could have been first-place finishes. The one thing about Scotty that's very encouraging, if you want to take him, and again, I'm not taking him in this tournament, but I have no arguments against anybody doing that. The distance control and the approach play is back. So there were some issues with that. He's also had some issues with the putter and off the tee, just like any other great golfer has had from time to time. But the fact that the ball striking is back and that the approach play is back tells me that, yet again, we're going to be seeing him on Sunday. The question is, does he have a slip up Thursday, Friday, or Saturday like he has tended to do at some point in this season? I think the answer to that is probably yes, because this is golf, and he hasn't completely reined in the entire game for 4 rounds. But he is the rightful favorite, a favorite that I'm not betting on. But it's funny because we look at Scotty as a guy that's like, he's just not quite there. And yet, second place at the Cadillac, second place at the RBC Heritage, second place at the Masters, of course, won the American Express earlier in the year. I mean, the guy's pretty much dialed in. He's just not quite there yet.
Yeah, and he'll be celebrating a birthday, which I imagine Scotty Scheffler probably throws a crazy birthday party. If anything about his personality makes us believe that, probably going to be a crazy one, especially if he wins this weekend at the PGA Championship. When it comes to betting these types of events, specifically majors, do you get into the prop market at all? Are you looking at any of that, or are you just strictly maybe winning, top 10, things like that?
Yeah, it's a little bit of everything. I mean, I'll be honest, the signature events and the majors, I don't think they're quite as – there's not as much meat on the bone from an outright department. And part of the reason for that is because it's rare that you get the Jacob Bridgmans of the world that are winning those. It's usually the shorter odds guys, like the shorter odds guys that I have this week, and I'll just cat out of the bag, Matt Fitzpatrick and Cam Young. I can talk about some other guys that I like down the board, but I do think it's the shorter odds guys from an outright perspective. And so that's not really as fun because, normally in like an alt event or a non-signature event, you can sneak in some 50 to 1s and 100 to 1s and feel pretty confident about it. I love the matchup department. So I have some props, like I have some like a round 1 matchup that I like, a 3-ball. I have a top Oceania, which is like basically the top Australian market. I did dabble in some top 20s and some top 40s first round leaders, but that's generally where my money goes week to week. I'm not putting a lot of money on the outrights. I'm generally putting them on matchups and things of that nature.
That makes a lot of sense. And you said Fitz and Young, you like any of your dark horses. You can let the full cat out of the bag.
Okay, let's get the full cat there. Patrick Cantlay. He is 54 to 1, and he's playing really good golf. People don't like to bet Patrick Cantlay, and I understand why. He's not exactly inspiring. I mean, you want to talk about a Scotty Scheffler birthday party. It is a wild event compared to a Patrick Cantlay birthday party. With that said, Cantlay over the last 4 tournaments has been really good. And he hasn't just been really good in one place from a strokes gained perspective. He's been good across the bag, and that includes the putter and the short game. So I think 54 to 1's a little long for him. If you're intimidated by the top of the board, you could bet him without, Scotty, Rory, that big 4 market if you want. But I think Patrick Cantlay has a shot here. Patrick Reed's kind of sneaky. He's in that 80 to 1 range. And he hasn't been really around. He hasn't played since the Masters, but this guy's been really good in 2026. He shows up at majors. There's really no reason for him to not be a good course fit here. So I think Patrick Reed is interesting at long odds. And then I'll just go back to Adam Scott. Again, Adam Scott's thrown the tournament away over his last 2 with horrific Thursdays. But he's basically been the best golfer on the course Friday, Saturday, and Sunday over the last 2 big-time tournaments. So I think Adam Scott, if he can just rein it in on Thursday, and if the putter can be decent, which it has been here and there, at 100 to 1, or it might be down to like 80 to 1 at this point, I don't mind him as a long shot.
Whew. You're speaking my language. I love a fun long shot. Makes especially if they make the cut, makes the weekend so much more interesting. But Sia, what do you guys got coming up on the early edge later today?
Yeah, we do that show every morning at 10 o'clock on the Sportsline YouTube channel. We cover it all. So, like, the whole premise of the show is to just, like, set you up for that day's slate. And that's going to be, we got a 15-game MLB slate. We've got the NBA playoffs tonight. We've got an NHL playoff game. We've got soccer. Of course, I'll give out some PGA picks and things of that nature like I'm doing right here. So we just try to set you up for your day of picks, essentially.
I love it. Really appreciate your time. Have a great early edge show later on today at 10. Have a great rest of your Wednesday after that as well.
Thanks, Jack. Thanks, Alan. Talk soon.
Of course, there goes Sia Nejad. He's a host analyst on CBS Sports HQ. You can hear him on Sportsline, the early edge. Really fantastic follow over there on Twitter, X, whatever you call it, at Sia Nejad as well. Typically I follow along with a couple of his picks each and every time he comes on, Alan, and I've made a couple of bucks here and there on it. It's between him and Pat Jaggers from the Motor Racing Network every Friday. They're giving out some long shot picks that hit. You're profitable over time.
Yeah, I can vouch for his golf betting acumen. Like he's solid, and all the things he said was great and accurate. So I can tell he's not just telling you what to do. He actually watches, which means a lot for somebody like me. If I'm going to follow you, I need to know that you're paying attention.
Because I'm not watching every single shot of every single tournament, but I'm tuning into the major, so I need to know. Catch me up quick with what's happening. So PGA Championship should be fun this week.
Scotty's dry paint. Patrick Cantley is definitely the Sahara.
Well, that
accent came out a little bit there, but
the Amherst County.
He is really dry.
Yeah, he's something. He's something. And I'm glad Sia said it, because Scotty Scheffler, when I heard that this morning, I was watching SportsCenter as I do. I'm doing my prep for the show. I'm getting ready. I'm like, man, what should I ask Sia? Where do I want to take it? And I heard ESPN on SportsCenter go, this is Scotty's final major. And then they took a pause. They knew what they were doing. And I went, what? And then they're like, in his 20s. And I was like, what? I forget that me and Scotty are the same age.
Yeah, I mean,
I look 15 years younger than
him. If there was a golfer who would step away early, I would say it would be between him and Bryson.
Yeah, well, Bryson's about it. If Liv folds, when it folds.
Yeah, because Bryson doesn't need it, and Scotty doesn't seem to care.
Scotty's like, I just play golf to pass the time, family. But man,
I do enjoy when he gets into those moments where it's him versus like the course, where he's got to come back and stuff. You do see a little personality out of him,
but not
competitive nature.
By a little, you just mean he goes, darn, flab it.
Yeah, I get a little fist pump.
Yeah, yes.
Maybe an argument about a lie, something like that.
These greens are going to be fantastic. Might actually bring a little personality out of Scotty, because if you put it past the hole the way Sia described as undulated, turtle shell shaped, if you put it past the hole the way that they're going to put these hole placements, you may be off the green in a putt because of the way it just rolls.
Yeah, I've seen undulated greens before when I was down in Pinehurst. It was definitely crazy. In fact, some of the runoff of some of the greens, you're talking yards, not feet. And I don't know if it'll be that drastic, but I also think Rory saying basically just hit it long and see where it goes is kind of a crazy strategy.
I mean, leave it to Rory. He's just like, I'm going to spray and pray, guys.
You could do that because you are super talented. I would not recommend that for 85-90% of the other participants in this tournament.
Yeah, because you can save it. If you go off green, off fairway, all of a sudden, boom, bam, you're right back in green and regulation.
I've used putting as a deal breaker when you're talking about two golfers who fit a certain perspective. So if you got a list of 5 and you're trying to figure out where to rank them, like putting and ball striking are 2 statistics that I lean on to do tiebreakers of how I want to sort people, how I want to allocate my funds. Typically, when you're talking approach shots, you really want to look at guys who are good ball strikers, because then they typically have better control when they do strike it. So I would say, like I said, all his advice I think was solid, and there's plenty of statistics. The PGA has really embraced statistics. So
you can find all that analytics.
You can find all that information simply on their website. You don't even have to go to like DraftKings or anything crazy. It's really sitting there on PGA.com.
NBA's done a really good job of that too.
Yeah, their website is extensive too.
You get a lot of advanced stats there.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I would love to see like pick and roll usage and the amount of like dribbles before shots.
So they have a statistic for like when we talk about ball dominant guards, they do have a statistic showing like how much possession they have.
They have the ball, yeah.
So like I used to always harp on Luka. Like I'm like, he's he's not letting anybody else involved, right? So they do have that, and I think
they've also got points responsible for, which is a pretty easy metric to run, but I do love seeing that in numbers. It essentially just takes scoring plus assists.
So golf, they have strokes gained, and then they will break it down to like strokes gained to pro, strokes gained from certain yardage, proximity, this and that. If you wanna just make it simple, just go off the total strokes gained.
Yeah,
it takes everything into account. Just simplify. Don't overcomplicate it.
KISS method. That's I live my life by the KISS method. Keep it simple, stupid.
Because golf gambling is definitely tough.
Yeah, but you can make a couple of bucks because you can find that value in that long shot.
A couple bucks.
Same with NASCAR, man. You could have yourself a nice little steak dinner if you hit well on a nice Sunday night after winning a golf bet and a NASCAR bet. You could have a nice filet mignon.
Best
dinner.
bet I ever did. I won a Justin Thomas prop on the Phoenix Open.
Okay.
And rolled that into the Patriots coming back down 28 to
That's crazy.
Yeah, no, it was wild. I got 2 friends that will vouch. It was wild. It was definitely one of those things where I
you have a couple of adult beverages in you at
yes,
that point?
no, for sure.
Okay.
I was definitely out of my mind, and I told them when I did it, we were at the party because I don't go to a lot of Super Bowl parties, but we were at the party and I had my phone out. And I jokingly said, if anybody could do it, the Patriots could do it. And I put like $50 on it.
You have a nice filet mignon.
The long odds on that, it paid out crazy.
Yeah, I bet it did. Yeah, I bet it did.
I would never do, like in my right mind.
You would never do that.
Never would do that. Not down that much. All the NFL I've seen, all the sports gambling I've seen.
Crazy.
I would never bet on like even $5. I would never put $1 on something like that. It's improbable.
Man, oh man.
And we don't operate in improbable when we're betting.
No, we do not. All right, let's get a quick break in. We'll step aside. I've got to get another thing off of my chest, and it has boiled up and it's boiled over these last 24 hours. So another thing coming up after this break.
Do you love football and want to be part of the game and give back to your community? Become an official in Central Virginia. We have a nationwide shortage of officials, causing some games not able to be played on Friday nights. You'll work and train with veteran officials, get great exercise on the field, and you'll earn extra income working the game you love. Active duty military and veterans could receive free uniforms and gear. Training classes start June 22nd. To register, visit cvfoa.org and click register to become an official. That's Central Virginia Football Officials Association, cvfoa.org.
Progressive knows it ain't easy navigating the open plains of home insurance, but there is one man who can help tame that wild herd of options. The Home Quote Explorer.
Note, Progressive's Home Quote Explorer is not a real person, but an online tool that lets you compare home insurance.
He's the type of feller who helps you decide on the right insurance, even if it ain't with him.
Again, not a person, just an online tool that helps you find great home coverage.
A real pioneer.
Okay, fine. Just do the thing. Yeah! Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Comparison rates unavailable in all states or situations.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
ZipRecruiter. Here's the thing about appliances. You probably don't want advice from someone who spends most of their time in the paint department, like at some other stores. At East Coast Appliance, appliances are all we do. No lawn chairs, no lumber department, just well-trained appliance experts who really care about helping you find exactly what you need for your home. And in many cases, we offer same-day, next-day delivery and installation. Shop for your next appliance today at East Coast Appliance, where you always get the best price or it's free. As you know, at East Coast Appliance, we take pricing pretty seriously. In fact, we have digital price tags that update in real time. They use AI technology to scan our competitors' prices on the exact models to make sure you're always getting the lowest price when you shop with us, because going the extra mile to make sure our customers get the best deal is what East Coast Appliance has always been about. Shop your local East Coast Appliance Superstore today, where we make sure you always get the best price or it's free.
Did you know about 1 in 3 people with plaque psoriasis may also develop psoriatic arthritis, which causes joint pain, stiffness, and swelling? Does this sound like you? Listen to what it sounds like to be a million miles away. Tremfya, guselkumab, taken by injection, is a prescription medicine for adults with moderate to severe plaque psoriasis who may benefit from taking injections or pills or phototherapy, and for adults with active psoriatic arthritis. Serious allergic reactions and increased risk of infections and liver problems may occur. Before treatment, your doctor should check you for infections and tuberculosis. Tell your doctor if you have an infection, flu-like symptoms, or if you need a vaccine. Imagine being a million miles away. Explore what's possible. Ask your doctor about Tremfya. Visit Tremfya.com or call 1-800-526-7736.
Game on, Richmond. Crank up 106.1 ESPN for live play-by-play, blistering hot takes, and nonstop action. Your ticket to the hype. Stay dialed in.
Oh, another free one. Thanks, dog. You always hook me up.
Another hour of the fun stuff on deck.
Another one of your nonsensical rambling stories.
And another round for everyone on me. I don't want to hear another peep.
Okay, all right, here's another one.
So, another thing before we get up on out of here on this Wednesday edition of Fitz the Bill. Richmond men's lacrosse just wrapped up one of the best seasons, if not the best season in program history, right? They got an NCAA tournament bid, a 3 next to their name, a 3 seed in the NCAA tournament. That is awesome. Got to host its first ever home tournament game at Robins Stadium. The stands were packed. The atmosphere was electric. A massive deal, right? Yesterday, the Spiders announced that their cumulative season attendance was 28,740. Second most in the nation, and of course, a program record. Round of applause for the Richmond Spiders. That men's lacrosse team had a storybook season. This is exactly what building a mid-major program looks like. Growing the brand, raising the floor of the conference, putting Atlantic 10 men's lacrosse on the map, a sport that, look, let's face it, hasn't typically owned. I know the season ended in heartbreak, but the overall body of work, a round of applause. And then this is my own doing. You go on Twitter, you go on social media, you see it. Richmond lacrosse fans barely out of the NCAA tournament, right? Already saying, man, we're too good for the A-10. We need to move up. We need to go to a new conference for men's lacrosse. We're too good for this. Wow, we're so much better than what the Atlantic 10 has to offer. We need to be in a better conference so we get better competition and can perform better in the NCAA tournament. And I'm not just coming at Richmond for this, because this is a massive issue throughout mid-majors and group of sixes. Those fandoms have this just permeating through them. VCU basketball fans, right? You hear it all the time. Big East, take us. Big East, take us. We're too good for the Atlantic 10. They should make an East division of the Pac-12, add us in with JMU and all these other teams, or some other power conference should want us for men's basketball. Look. Let's slow down. The Pac-12 barely exists, and look, barely qualifies as a G6 at this point after the latest rounds of additions. JMU fans, don't get me started, always clamoring to join the ACC, while simultaneously complaining that power conference expansion is ruining college sports. Look, that logic, it doesn't make sense. You can't want both. You can't hate the power conferences and then also openly pine for inclusion in those same power conferences. These mid-major fans are the ones who say, no one respects mid-majors. Geographic rivalries are what college sports is all about. I hear that one all the time when it comes to the Sun Belt. Realignment is destroying everything. Not wrong, right? Not wrong. And then the second their team makes a college football playoff or beats a downtrodden power conference team in the regular season in September in football, or makes the NCAA tournament in men's basketball and randomly gets a win. The second that happens, these fans want to bolt to a league that doesn't want them, a league they have been complaining about because it has ruined the state of college sports. ACC, take us. ACC, Big 10, Pac-12, whatever it might be. You want power conferences to stop consolidating them? Stop handing the ACC, the Big 10, the Big 12, the SEC, whatever it might be. Stop handing them the argument. Every mid-major fan who says we deserve better is basically telling the ACC and Big 10, yes, keep expanding, keep absorbing, keep killing the little guys. We want to be part of you. You're greasing the wheels of the machine you claim to hate, you claim has ruined college sports. Look at Gonzaga. WCC, one of the most respected programs in the country, for the longest time, and I understand they just left, but for the longest time, they didn't leave when they had the chance. Multiple chances has been handed to them over the years. They decided to stay in the WCC, and that elevated everybody around them. The WCC is one of the most well-funded mid-major conferences in the nation in men's basketball because of Gonzaga. The amount of shares Gonzaga has won for their conference over the years has helped elevate that entire conference. They were a 3-bid league this year. That's the model. You raise the conference up. You don't abandon it the second you sniff success. What Richmond lacrosse should be praying for right now is that the rest of the A10 raises up, that the bottom of the A10 rises. That's how you build a league with national credibility, not by bailing on it. Look, I get it. College sports right now feels like the last helicopter out of Saigon. Everyone's scrambling. No one knows which conferences will exist in 5 years. And schools are making desperate moves, like bringing private equity to the table. But that's exactly why mid-major fans need to be the stabilizing force, not the ones lighting the fuse. Richmond lacrosse just had a historic season. Over 28,000 fans came out. The program is on the rise. Same goes for VCU men's basketball and JMU football. They can be the catalyst to growth in their respective conferences. Enjoy it. Build on it. Stop looking over the fence. Stop desiring something you don't have. Comparison is the thief of joy. Because if you keep begging to leave, one day you're going to get exactly what you asked for. And the result isn't going to be something you like. All right, that'll do it for Fitz the Bill on this Wednesday morning. Appreciate Kyle Williams, Sia Najad for stopping by in hour number 2. Keep it locked right here on 106.1 ESPN Richmond. We've got the Rich Eisen Show at noon, and we've got the Mid-Major Match Show at 4. Stick around, 106.1 ESPN Richmond, where Richmond talks sports. We'll be back same time, same place tomorrow morning, 106.1 ESPN.